All right, welcome in K-State Online. Mason Voth, Drew Galloway. Hey, if it sounds like crap, I'm not going to fault you for not watching or doing whatever you got to do. The setup is not ideal here in Kansas City. I promise tomorrow we'll try to find a better one for you if this sucks. And I'm totally aware that it could suck, so that's A-okay. But here we are, Drew. We're tucked away up top in the T-Mobile Center, and K-State has won a basketball game, 71-66. Over Arizona State to start the Big 12 tournament. And the start is probably the key word there because K-State won this game solely on how they started it. They got up 17-4 on Arizona State. Coleman Hawkins was playing some of the best offensive basketball we've seen from him all season, and it results in this 5-point win, and now K-State gets a chance to play Baylor for a second time this year, somebody that the Wildcats battled with down in Waco.
Yeah, the start really won K-State this game. I believe K-State got up at one point 18-5. And from there, it really felt like K-State was just playing to hang on. And they did. The game never really felt like Arizona State was going to win. And I think that that's something that I guess you can take away as something that was a positive. You'd like them to step on Arizona State's throat more, but it never really felt like Arizona State was threatening to potentially win the game. So because of that, I think that it's a positive. You get to go on and you play a Baylor team that you should have beat the first time. And this is why we've talked about this path, that it's not crazy that we see K-State play on Friday night here. I'm trying to be optimistic. It wouldn't be crazy if they at least beat Baylor tomorrow night. So you see that, and then the way that the game went, nobody from Arizona State could guard Coleman Hawkins. And to be honest, if he would have made layups, nobody from Arizona State could have guarded Doug McDaniel either. They were the better team for the entire game. And I think that this is just kind of like a ho-hum. They want it now. Go out and prove it and beat Baylor.
Yeah. I'm going to give you credit, and I think we need a good cop, bad cop type of vibe here. And you're providing the good cop side of this where there are positives tonight. Winning is a positive, and we talk about this so much that, things cannot be very fun with this team sometimes, but it's a lot more fun to be in these things when your team's still playing than if they're not. And, Ron has the perfect saying, on the bright side, Gasson will be fresh tomorrow. Yeah, he was in foul trouble all night. Kind of a weird stretch of games for him when you consider how things played out against Iowa State. But the Gasson foul trouble is a part of it. K-State should have won this game by more. And they never stepped on Arizona State's throat the way that they needed to. And for Arizona State to only have 7 real bodies available and K-State to look like the team that was having to really work to stay in position in this game because of the foul trouble, and then depth that you bring in wasn't very reliable. That's concerning. And I thought there would be a good chance we'd come out of this win tonight for K-State because I did think they'd win. And I'd say that I give them a real chance tomorrow night at Baylor. It's not a non-zero chance, but the way this team played tonight, even though the shooting was a little bit better, this team is not good enough to beat Baylor tomorrow. And I come away from that game where a win is good. Outside of Coleman Hawkins, I wasn't overly impressed with what I saw tonight, and that concerns me for what we're going to see tomorrow.
No, I don't necessarily disagree with that either. But I think that you take this and you think, okay, you have won it, and now you move on. And it's not like Baylor. It's not like Baylor is the deepest team either. Baylor's dealing with a lot of injuries, and you would think that K-State is able to kind of expose that depth as well. There are a lot of kind of crazy stats when you think about this game. One that you pointed out was Sean Phillips having 14 rebounds. Max Jones having 8 rebounds was pretty crazy. But to win tomorrow, you need a better version of Doug McDaniel. You still need to get more shots for Brendan Haas, and the fact that he was only 2 of 3 is still a bad thing. Like, he needs to get more shots up. But I think that there's a lot more positives than negatives from this game. The careless turnovers also were bad, but you still shot 50% from the field. You still were 8 of 18 from 3. And the defense was fine enough. The one thing that the defense really slipped near the end, but again, it feels like we're kind of nitpicking in a game that K-State led for 35 minutes. And
that's fair. That's fair. There is some nitpicking going on, and with this team, a win's a win. You don't take it for granted, and you move on. And tomorrow's another day, and it's a one-game sample sizes, and we know that in one game, K-State has shown that they can handle about anybody in this league. They played Baylor tight down in Waco, and now that's who they get 6 o'clock tomorrow night here at T-Mobile Center. Earlier winners in the day, Cincinnati took down Oklahoma State fairly easily, and Colorado, for the second time in 4 days, beats TCU. Colorado, before Saturday, had only won 2 Big 12 games all year. The last 4 days, they beat TCU twice. Jamie Dixon must suck to be a fraud loser. I don't know what to tell you, big guy. But in terms of K-State and now where this thing moves forward, you do take it one step at a time, and getting the win is big. You fought through adversity in this game, so that is a credit point that you have to give. David Gasson only playing 17 minutes tonight, and most of it coming when he had 4 fouls. That's a positive to take away, and he was going to be effective when he was in the game. I mean, for what he had opportunity-wise, he ended up with 4 points, 4 rebounds, or 5 points, 4 rebounds. He was going to help you make a difference, and so much of what Arizona State got that was successful ended up coming around the rim later on. He would have helped because Ugonna Inyinso is zero help inside, and we saw that again tonight, but Ugo was forced into almost 14 minutes of game time. What was it? He only played 2 minutes on Saturday against Iowa State. They clearly don't want him to be out there, but he had to play tonight. This was not the matchup for Moby this time around because of the way it was playing. They needed help inside, and they couldn't sacrifice taking somebody else off the floor to put him out there at, a 3 or a 4. Like, they needed size, and if you put Moby in there, he's going to jump a lot, and he just as easily would have fouled and gotten into some of that trouble. So K-State did a decent enough job. They got smoked on points off of turnovers, 20-10, and to still come out as a winner, that's a positive as well. The turnover numbers weren't overly large for K-State, only 13 compared to ASU's 10, but once again, it was pretty notable. The other thing that I would point out here is we saw Doug McDaniel get a pretty bad technical foul. Again, you can debate on if the refs were right to call it or not, but I said earlier on the boards, he and Adam Miller have a history that I'm sure these refs had to be aware of going into this, because it was a history that got Adam Miller ejected from the game in Tempe. So there was going to be a pretty low tolerance for what those two guys might do. He did a nice job of forcing a key turnover, and then he turns around, gets a tech, and gifts 2 points to Arizona State at a point where you felt like K-State could maybe have pulled away. Also, Coleman Hawkins had a block that probably would have made it a 71-64 game, and they ended up calling goaltending instead, and we knew that review would not go in K-State's favor. But Arizona State's a terrible team. K-State beat them. They did what they needed to survive. That's obviously the cliche this time of year, is survive and advance. And you take the good things from today, Coleman Hawkins, and the grittiness of this win, and then you hope it translates to more of the things that you need to do to be successful tomorrow night against Baylor. So I'm not going to make it a non-zero chance for K-State, but I still didn't like what I saw tonight, and I really wanted to see I wanted to see something that made me believe a little bit more entering tomorrow.
Of course, we get the lights turned off here for the lineup introductions for UCF. But you see what happened today. You want more than from CJ Jones, and you want more from David Castillo than you got. But I think that kind of just, and it is what it is kind of scenario. So you move on to tomorrow. You're going to have David Gasson probably healthier and more rested than a lot of his teammates. I think that what you really need to watch for tomorrow is how does Coleman Hawkins' leg respond to playing, I think it was 38 minutes tonight. So I think that'll be a big key for tomorrow night will be Coleman Hawkins' health because he was massive. Maybe he just really likes playing in the T-Mobile Center. I pointed this out. He hit some big shots against Drake, even though they still lost. So I mean, I think that it is probably not the likely outcome that they win tomorrow, but I think that it is definitely possible. I would say probably somebody asked for what your percent chance was. I would say I'd have it like 35 to 40%.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I would, if we're putting percentages on it, I'll give it a 33%, a Coleman Hawkins percentage chance of happening, because if they had played better tonight, I would have been more optimistic because we know Jerome Tang has had success against Scott Drew and Baylor. And I think K-State can get through 2 games here just off of kind of their effort. So I probably would have, if K-State had looked better tonight, I probably would have given them more in the 45, even 50 range, made it a true toss-up. But that stuff doesn't totally matter. K-State's just got to come out. And like most games this year, Baylor's another opponent that it's not about what Baylor does tomorrow night unless they come out and just go 15 of 20 from 3. It's about what K-State does. K-State dictates their outcome in a lot of games. There are only a handful of teams that's not the case. Houston, basically the only one. Iowa State, when they're at their best, I think Iowa State's another, but they haven't been at their best in a while. So we'll watch and see how that ends up working out. But everybody should be pleased with the win, and tickets are still fairly reasonable. Like even if K-State plays like crap tomorrow night, the Big 12 tournament is still the love of my life. Like, I love this sucker. That's why I'm not leaving for Utah UCF tonight. I'll still be here. So I would encourage anybody that can to get out to it and have a good time tomorrow night. Go to the CBE. This guy loves the CBE. Doesn't matter if he's 12 or whatever, 26. I think I am now. So we'll be here tomorrow night because we don't take any nights off as it plays right now. Was there anything from this game tonight, Drew, that you watched that felt like an improvement of a season-long problem or a recent stretch problem that maybe the execution wasn't there, but the idea was? And so you saw something that you go, hey, that's correcting a problem that was going to hinder them from being successful here.
It felt like they were taking better threes tonight. It felt like they were more in rhythm, and the passing was a lot better on the shot. So it felt like they were really getting them in a good spot. I mean, we joked when Brendan Hausen missed the 1-3 that he missed tonight, that he got his feet set and got organized and was ready to shoot as soon as he got the ball. So I think that was something that was an improvement. You saw K-State actually front the post tonight, which was something that they wanted to do on Saturday that apparently they just forgot to do. So it looked like they actually knew what they were doing out there. There were still the frustrating turnovers that you see in every game, but I think that this was another kind of step in the right direction, and you could see it click a little bit for K-State to where they are playing a little bit better. And now you go and you face a Baylor team that isn't very deep either, has been struggling of late. They had gone on a free fall to a point where they were down double digits at home against Oklahoma State a couple games ago, and it looked like they weren't even going to make the NCAA tournament, period. So this is a very beatable team. It's a very beat-up team. It's also a team that, and Gabe pointed this out on Friday, or not Friday, Monday, whatever.
It's a long week.
Whatever day it was, that Baylor is one of the slowest paced teams, so that should help K-State in a second day. So you want to save your legs and play. If they play really good defense tomorrow, there's no reason that the game shouldn't be close near the end.
That great point on that. You think about, yes, the pace is a big deal, how slow that they play. In addition to that, like we know, if you look at them, they've gotten better as the season has wore on, but the defense had been slipping. They end up finishing pretty strong in some defensive metrics relative to where they could have been. But, like, you're going to have an opportunity there. We know K-State came out of the gates hot. Things seemed right, but you get a second day, and once you win on day 2, then you can talk about day 3, but we'll see how it goes for K-State. For anybody asking about it, yeah, K-State's got to win this whole thing to get to the NCAA tournament. It still, as people search for answers, ambiguous on how you make the college basketball crown tournament in Vegas. Brett Yormark didn't even know what the criteria would be for the top 2 non-tournament teams for the Big 12. Is it league standings? Is it net? Is it what is it? He didn't know.
I'm not overly convinced that this tournament actually exists.
Well, it does feel like maybe there could be who knows? It could be a fly-by-the-night operation, and does it actually happen? We'll see. But it seems like K-State would be in line to play with it or have a chance. It's a weird time of year. So that would be the postseason that you're looking at K-State probably playing right now if they do it. And if, again, they finish like we think, and that's not winning 5 games in 5 days. But they won the first one, so it gave them a chance, and we'll see how this thing plays out. There's one last look at the current Big 12 bracket with Cincy, Colorado, and K-State moving on so far. Utah and UCF currently engaged in a 7-2 ball game in favor of the Knights.
By the way, if you guys are watching this UCF-Utah game, it's a loud UCF crowd, but it's a loud UCF crowd because there's a lot of BYU fans here that are hate watching Utah. It's awesome.
Yeah, this is probably the most fan support UCF has had all year. But short show tonight, nothing overwhelming because
I can barely hear myself think.
Well, and just it's only so much from this game because it wasn't pretty. Coleman Hawkins was a story. He was phenomenal. He continues to just be a warrior for this team. And I had some of my not-so-fun takeaways. I would throw another one out there before we get out, though, and that's Doug picked it up late, but he continued a not-so-great stretch and some things tonight that just made me scratch my head and go, I thought he was a guy that I wanted back for K-State. I question it a little bit now. I still think you do it, but it's not as surefire of a yes from me.
No, I would agree with that. He needs to pick it up and get back to where he was during the 6-game win streak. He's still playing good defense, and I think that's kind of been what has sparked his run of good play. But he has to find a way to make some of these shots because he's so good at getting to the rim. It's just he's been kind of a disaster lately at, finishing the shot.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, 71-66, Cats win. Thanks for joining us tonight. Tomorrow, we hope to have a better location for you if this one sucked. And also, well, I'd rather talk about a win. But if they win or lose, tomorrow will probably be a longer show because dreams either get bigger or we look at this K-State team as, for all intents and purposes, finishing their season. But we'll get out of here for now. Everybody can enjoy the rest of the Big 12 tonight. Big full day tomorrow. I love it, Drew. He picks Cats over Baylor 75-65 tomorrow. We'll see. I'd love to see K-State put 75 on a scoreboard again because even tonight, 71, I thought it might be a little bit more. But that'll do it for us. For Drew Galloway, I'm Mason Voth. Thanks for watching K-State Online. Back again tomorrow after the Cats and the Bears. Head over to KSO at On 3. Get full post-game coverage there from DY, Drew, maybe myself, who knows. And KSU fan, he's lurking. He's racing down I-70 right now to get here tomorrow. So we hope that he makes it here safe. And we get a full day of basketball tomorrow in the T-Mobile Center once again.